everyone. This podcast series is in partnership with Tiger Eye Group. Tiger Eye offers equity, diversity, and inclusion workshops, business development, indigenous training, and they are hosting a meaningful event in May 13 and 14 at Metro Hub Kelowna, titled Cultivating Authentic Leadership Conference. We have the pleasure to have a conversation with all their speakers before the event. You don't want to miss it. Thank you very much for watching.
20 diverse speakers on May 13th and 14th here in Kelowna, BC, being held at the Metro Hub, 1265 Ellis Street. Join us for Cultivating Authentic Leadership, where we're going to have conversations that matter.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Valiente Entrepreneur. In this new podcast, I'm super excited because I have a very special guest and I feel very honored to have her here with us. Her name is Dee McWatters. She is an equity diverse consultant and she's just starting her personal brand. I'm super excited to have her with us so I can ask her more questions and know more about all the things that she is doing recently. Thank you very much, Dee. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. How have you been? What are you doing? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind couple of weeks. Doing really well. I have just recently changed careers after 30 years in the British Columbia wine industry as a production manager, operations manager, and I am now changing careers, shifting focus to work on a new career as an equity, diversity, inclusion, belonging consultant and advocate, as well as a 2S LGBTQ IA plus advocate that I have been doing for quite some time now in the Okanagan as a gay trans woman myself. And I look to do more professional speaking engagements and leadership conference and share my learnings and share my experiences and help organizations to be more inclusive with their staffing, with their employees, with their people, and in a more inclusive organization altogether.
That's wonderful. And congratulations on your new path. I personally myself feel a little bit connected to that because I've been an animation producer for 15 years and now I'm starting my new company. So yeah, it's I don't know, but I feel like it's a new whole adventure. Probably you feel the same. So I'm super happy to have this conversation with you. What was your previous industry? What you were doing before?
Well, I grew up in the British Columbia wine industry, quite literally. My father, who passed away 5 years ago, he was affectionately known as the grandfather of BC wine, Harry McWatters. My father had been in the wine industry here in British Columbia since 1968 until the time of his passing of 2019. So both my sister and I grew up actually working in the family wine industry, or in the winery itself, and we both have had careers in the wine industry, her in sales and marketing and as a general manager. Myself, I've always been in inventory, logistics, warehousing, production, and operational aspects of the wine industry.
So it was a family business?
Yes, we had been involved with a family business that we founded, Sumac Ridge Estate Winery, in 1980. And then my father sold the company to a large organization based out of Niagara Falls, Ontario. And we all stayed on for quite a number of years. And then in 2010, my father created a new brand, which was called McWatters Collection. And in 2016, we started on our new winery called Time Winery. And yeah, my sister and I were involved in that. And We've recently just changed our career focus in the last couple of weeks and couple of months, and I'm very excited about finally having that opportunity to pursue my true calling, my true passion of doing something that is about identity, about diversity, about feeling belonging in community, whether it's community within a town or with community within an organization, within community, whether it be a business. So,
Oh no, that's great. I feel connected to that part as well because I came with from a family business. My mom back in Mexico used to have clothing store, and I have two siblings, one and one bro. Sorry, three siblings, two sisters and one brother, and we all work in the clothing store like since we were kids. And then as time goes past and there like time changes and the company, the business needs to adapt, and we all now have our own companies, different paths. So yeah, no, and I feel very happy for you because now it sounds that you are doing what you are more passionate about. Tell me a little bit more. What are you planning? I know that you are just starting, but it sounds that you are going to take this new career as your own endeavor and own passion. Yeah, tell me a little bit more
yeah,
about
well,
that.
before kind of talking about what's coming up in the
Coming up,
future,
yeah.
I'm going to go back in the past just a little bit.
Yes.
As I'm openly, I say I am a transgender female, and it was only just over 6 years ago that I came out to the world and started my transition. And by coming out to the world and saying this is my authentic self, I knew that because our family was fairly well known, that it wasn't going to be done too secretively. So I've been speaking about just my own true authentic self now, and in my challenges and my embracing my new identity as who I truly am for about the last 6 years. And I share my story openly with vulnerability. I wear my emotions on my sleeves. And that's really given me a bit of a platform to share my story and help advocate for others who may not have a strong voice, may not have a safe space. And so that's kind of allowed me to kind of move over into wanting to speak on behalf of others, how that, looks in the world, within your local community, within the business community, within sporting community. I'm very involved in ice hockey with BC Hockey as an official. And yeah, so I also created, basically penned a memoir, and I still have to finish that. But I would like to share my actual story, my deepest, darkest thoughts, because I know I'm not alone in this journey. My friends and family and people I share it with are along with me, but there are many people out there that also feel the same and may struggle. So by sharing this vulnerability and to others and creating allies, I want to create safe spaces for everybody and create that sense of belonging and inclusion in all aspects of life. And that's now going forward is what my goal is, just basically, again, speaking about where I've come from, where I'm going, but beyond just being about me, how to help organizations to be more welcoming, be more inclusive, which will help organizations and businesses thrive as well, which will encourage them to attract the best people.
I love it because the way that you are working on your vision is a 360 approach. Uh, Sports, wellness, work, family. And would you like to share a little bit of your experience, your personal experience on what was the challenge or what are the challenges that you are still facing in these matters?
My personal challenges are probably a little bit more internalized. There's definitely still, thoughts that go in my head is, am I perceived, truly in my identity as a female? But then a lot of times it's like, what other people think, it doesn't matter. But I do want to be able to change the mentality for other people. As I say, it's not about me. The personal challenges are more internalized, and that's just something I've got to get over. What I need to work on is, creating allyships, creating change for others, others that don't have that support necessarily from family, others that may struggle to find their true calling in a workplace, others that feel that maybe sports or an art culture is not welcoming to them. And that's really where the work is, and that's where the challenges lie. Sometimes my biggest personal challenge is just getting my hair right. So, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate, and I understand that from my privilege previously being, a white male who identified as being straight, that allowed me a lot of unearned privilege to feel stronger about coming out. And I do realize, too, that there are some now biases that the privilege of losing and actually identifying as female, when people see me as a female, it is a little lower than identifying as a white male. And that's a lot of what I've been learning in the last year about privilege and power, and how do we get over those biases. So that's a whole nother topic. That's from my learnings about how do we move forward and how do we remove some of those barriers.
100%. And I'm fascinated about what you're saying, that opening doors, removing barriers for others in the sports, at the work space, and why you think, or just to people can listen, what is the importance of opening these doors for new generations, or for these generations, that everyone can feel safe to do certain sport. Everybody can work in all or any industry that they are interested in. Why these things matter? Why these actions create sense of belonging?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And the reality is, why should there be any barriers to be able to do whatever you want to do, whether that is participating in sport, which I'm passionate about, because activity, just whether it be going out for a walk in recreation or participating in a competitive sport, is such a great return, not only your physical health, but your mental health. And I'm a big advocate for mental health, having had struggles myself. But also in the workplace. I mean, I think any workplace, they want to achieve success, whatever that success looks like. And that comes from having the right people and the strongest people. And there should be no barriers to anybody being able to go after, what their true calling is as a career, as a job. And, why do we have areas? It's like, well, you can't do this or you can't do that. There should be no barriers whatsoever. If you have, some form of a different disability, for example, why could you not come to a workplace if you potentially in a wheelchair, but it might be your true calling, but there's no accessibility as far as, there's only stairs, no elevator, something like that. But also just the different cultures that we're seeing now, especially in Canada. The world is open. It's kind of globalization, as far as we have different cultures, different backgrounds moving around the world, and it's becoming a true mosaic. And it's just understanding that, this isn't 200 years ago when it was just English and Europeans moving to these lands, and it was one set way. So the diversity of the reasons we need to do it are as diverse as the people around us.
Yeah, I really believe that there is so much richness in people, in community, like opening or removing those mental barriers or those stigmas that previous generations might had or may have for long years or for a long time. I want to say. Um, so yeah, I think what you are doing is super meaningful on our current community, and it will resonate with others. I know that you're gonna be presenting or having a conference in May 13 and 14. Um, Let me just move a little bit the image. Perfect. So yeah, we are super excited about this event that Denise Young is putting together. What she's doing, I think, is requires a lot of courage, requires a lot of
That's
bravery. Her event is called Cultivating Authentic Leadership Conference. It's happening on May 13 and May 14, and you're gonna be presenting on this panel. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, I'll be involved in a couple different panels. One particularly on May 13th is about creating resilience and courage, and that having courage and resiliency isn't always a safe space for some people. It can be very scary showing your vulnerable side. I found that personally, but I also found that you need to put that aside because you're doing work for others. And so we'll be discussing about just, being resilient, being, courageous. I'm a hockey referee, and one of the first places I came out was, out there on the ice. And, a lot of people say, well, you must have thick skin, coming out as being transgender because there's a lot of negativity out there. I said, well, I have really thick skin because I've always been a hockey referee. So you're often criticized on the ice anyways. So that's where a lot of that resiliency comes from. And I'm not afraid of anything that's thrown at me. And that's why I use my voice to be stronger so that others can be stronger with their voice and, be able to show their vulnerable side for true growth.
Dee, could you share us a little bit about that, about your experience in the hockey sports and how you build resilience or how you are approaching these um, challenges or different mindset around the sport?
Yeah, as much as I was half expecting to see some pushback, I never did. And I did use my visibility, like, because my hair was growing longer. I would definitely have some eye makeup out there, and I always like to have my nails very well manicured. So when I'm dropping those pucks, people see the nice manicure. And the reason being is because I didn't want it's not about me being flashy, but I wanted people to see that, in this crazy world, very toxic, sometimes toxic, masculine sports world, that it is okay to be you. And that's what I was expressing. And I wanted people to see that, wow, like, here's someone that is transgender and they're very open, because we don't see a lot of LGBTQ people in the sports world, especially in male-dominated sports. And I felt that if there's a player out there, if there's a coach on the bench, if there's a parent in the stands that sees that and feels that, if they can come out and they can feel safe out there on the ice in front of all these people, that maybe this is okay for, whether it be their kids coming out or it could be themselves. Because, I was 43 when I came out. So, it can take some time. And it was because of that openness that I actually started getting a lot of games, even in my advancing age. And the last 3 years, I've actually been asked to officiate at U15 and U18, under 18 and under 15 female provincial championships. And that's also partly, because I'm a pretty good official, because you don't get provincial championship appointments without being a good official. And in part of that, BC Hockey created a new working group to help, challenge or go after challenges about racism, about sexism, about homophobia, and it is the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Working Group that I was asked and appointed to this work group a year and a half ago. So I'm part of BC Hockey's first EDI working group, as well as I am an advisor to Hockey Canada on gender expression, gender diversity issues. So it's been a very positive change, and I've also never had a negative comment towards me while I've been out on the ice. And I would have expected that I would have heard something, and I could very heavily penalize somebody for that within a game, but it's been a pleasant surprise that I haven't.
Yeah, it's super pleasant to hear that because, yeah, like you hear stories or you see some stories on social media or something that you would expect at different cases. But I'm happy that you have had a good reception. What are the work that is still needed to be done in work safe environment or in sports? Because a lot of your work and your commitment is into that. Tell us a little bit. What is the work that is still need to be done for?
There's so much. I mean, yes, I'm helping with some inroads, but in work and in sports, equity, diversity, inclusion, belonging, social justice, there's still so much work. I don't experience the personal side of things as far as racism and as far as someone that is not a visible ethnic marginalized person, but there's a lot of racism that occurs in sports. There's a lot of what we call microaggressions in the workplace, all these little things that, people don't understand that are little barriers to having a more inclusive and diverse workplace or sporting organizations. So yeah, we are just scratching the surface that there's a lot of work to do. And, we are changing as far as the face of our population here in Canada, and that within 10 to 15 years, the majority of the population will identify as a visible minority throughout the country. And we need to embrace these diversities and reflect that, because representation matters, whether it's in the boardroom, in business, in sporting organizations, in media. That representation of seeing someone who looks like you and represents your identity is extremely important.
100%. How important is to have representation for any minority, for any group? And I feel like what Denise Young is doing with her event is so important because the conversations that you are gonna be having during the event will create that or will have a sense of awareness to the community and for the people that is gonna be attending. Is there something or that you would like to highlight about the event or what you are expecting about the event?
Yeah, I mean, the conference is called Cultivating Leadership, and kind of the subline is conversations that matter. And I think that's what this conference is really gonna focus on. And it's panels, it's interactive discussions, and it's true discussions. And, it's gonna tug at some tension. And, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes the discussion may be difficult, but having that tension and breaking through it is actually where you have the most gains and the most, you get through some challenges, but the growth that can come from that. is critical, and this is about diversity and inclusion. And what I really like too about this is that being here in the Okanagan, being here in Kelowna, it shows that, this is a multicultural city. We expect to see things like that in the larger centers of Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, and of course Vancouver. With Kelowna, a lot of people, may not reflect on that, but they also don't realize how fast Kelowna has grown, and it's grown and become so much more diverse. That's why it's really important right now to have these conversations, so that we create that stronger, diverse community.
Totally agree. And that's the main reason we came on board with the Dees vision, with the Dees project and conference, because Valiente, our production company, wants to empower or to support and partner with people that are having conversations that matter, for people and entrepreneurs, business owners, or activism that are doing something meaningful for their community. So yeah, we are super honored to be joining this event, and I wanted to invite all the people to join us as well. Tickets are on sale. I will leave the description. I will leave the link on the description, and we have been having this conversation, like, to give a glimpse, a sneak peek to our viewers of the conversations, the topics and subjects that you are gonna be having, and you can learn more about this from them. And yeah, is there anything else that you would like to share for the people that is watching us, or why they should join us?
Well, I don't want to give away everything from the conference, and that I think that it'd be very, very valuable to attend this conference. Get your tickets. This is going to be a great experience. Like I say, this is going to really help change culture and create growth, diversity, and just improve community. And that's what it's about. So come learn, and then come share your experiences.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone, and hope to see you in the event. We'll leave all the links in the descriptions, and we're gonna leave also the McWatter social media links. So if you want to learn more from her, thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and see you next time. Perfect.
Thank you.